this is an arms race, it's a cat and mouse chase. You make a better detector, they make a better generator. So we have to keep ahead. We have to keep evolving and countering new threats.
Yeah, funk it up, listen close to the knowledge that we're about to dose. Ooh, yeah. Face Matters ain't no joke, it's the podcast with a biometric poke.
Welcome to another podcast of Face Matters. It's a podcast where we talk about biometrics, identity, and preventing fraud. And together with me, I have Tawsin, as well as Hassan, and myself from Brage, from the Mobai team. And today we're going to talk about deepfake detection, and something called inject attacks, which is various types of attacks against identity systems. But before we do that, could you kind of give a quick introduction about yourself?
Yeah.
So, you want to start, Tawsin?
Yeah, I can start.
Yeah.
So I'm Tawsin. I'm working with Mobai as a researcher, and I'm working mostly on presentation attack detection and injection attack detection. So I did my master's under the Erasmus scholarship and with Antinu, and also with France, in the university in France called Université Jean Monnet. So yeah, I did my master's in computer vision image processing. Yeah, that's a short background.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
And now a big biometrics nerd.
Yeah, yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, so thank you, Brage. So my name is Hassan Askary, and I'm a data scientist here at Mobai. And I work mainly on deepfake detection and ID document processing. Previously, I also have a master's in computer vision and imaging, and then I gradually transitioned over to biometrics and deepfake detection and ID proofing. Yeah.
Cool. And I think the topic for the day is deep fakes, right? So perhaps you can give a short introduction, Hassan, to what is a deep fake.
Yeah, so basically, deepfakes are AI generated media. So, but when we refer to deepfakes, we refer specifically to synthetic media where the identity of a person is manipulated or replaced with another person's identity, typically using deep learning to realistically face swap or replace their face or identity or mimic their voice. It could be any other media as well, so that we can generate synthetic representations of individuals without their consent, so that we can impersonate them to take over their account, for example.
Yeah. So then an example could be someone calling a call center claiming I'm me, or let's say I call my mother and I ask her for money, for instance, and someone calling my mother asking for money, but they're doing it in my voice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that would be a voice deepfake.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
would be a voice deepfake. Yeah, and face swap, that is then a face deepfake.
Yes. So you assume the identity of another person.
Yeah, and then I move around with my face as the attacker, and then I swap another face on top of that, basically to fool others in video systems, conference calling, or say onboarding to banks and things like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess that's a big increase and increase in kind of like threat of these kind of attacks happening right now, right?
Yeah. So we have seen a dramatic increase in deepfake attacks in the recent years.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah. So there's actually this very notable incident last year in Hong Kong. There's a CFO scam where this financial worker got a call from his CFO, presumably, and it was a deepfake video actually. And in the call, the CFO is asking him, "Can you transfer $25 million to this certain account?" The financial worker was thought that, okay, this is my boss talking to me, and he did it. He transferred it. So that was a high level attack last year.
Yeah, and quite monetary successful.
Yes.
Yeah. One thing I find kind of like interesting regarding deepfakes. So now we had two examples just now talking, right? One voice impersonation, and then we had face swap impersonation. And I guess you have all these kind of deepfakes of Trump and politicians on X or Twitter. So that's one risk to the society, right? You don't trust the information online. But the deepfakes that we worry about are when you use it targeting, impersonating someone when you want to gain access to something. So say you want to onboard a bank or you want to do an authentication, right? And then I want to ask you Tawsin, right? Because then there is then you need to present the deep fake, right? You need to use the deep fake as say I'm creating a face swap, but I want to log into a biometric system. As an attacker, how would I kind of like do that? Are there multiple ways I can do that, or how would I kind of like try to fool the system? I'm using a deep fake, but I'm trying to give it into the system.
Injection attack is basically a process how you inject deepfakes or normal videos to the remote identity system. So before going to that one, I want to give a overall context of how remote identity process works. So for example, if someone wants to get access to his bank account, and in a remote identity proofing scenario, what happens, like he scan his ID document to get the reference image and take his selfie, so and send it to the backend for verification. It could be any modality. It could be voice, it could be iris, it could be any other, even palm. So in this scenario, what does fraudster can do? It can bypass the camera sensor. For example, in a standard scenario, what we see, fraudster can use image or video in front of a camera sensor, which is we refer to as a presentation attack detection.
And so then I'm basically presenting something to the camera, in front of the camera, really.
Yes, yes. So the image of the target customer, which the attacker trying to get access to.
Yeah, but and that image could have been a deep fake, right?
Yeah, that image could have been deep fake, but in injection attack scenario, what attacker can do, instead of tricking the actual camera sensor, he can bypass the camera sensor itself, not using the camera sensor at all. So he can inject the video of a targeted customer or a deepfake of that customer and use it in the remote identity proofing pipeline.
Okay, and then as an attacker, then I'm either kind of like reverse engineering something, or I'm finding some weakness to basically inject the image
of the attacker. So attacker can do it in many ways. So he can use some virtual cameras and or install the remote identity proofing app in the emulators. Emulators is kind of a software that simulates the OS of Android devices or iOS devices. So he can use these kind of emulator software in his laptop or PC or any other places and install the app inside the emulators and link the camera feed with the virtual cam. So the app thinks that the user is using the real camera, but it's not. It's actually using the virtual camera. And in virtual camera, you can do many things. You can inject pre-recorded video. You can inject pre-recorded any image. So, but the app think that it's the bit data stream is coming from the real device, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's basically from the virtual cam.
Yeah, and injected image really, or a video.
Yeah, a video. Yeah.
So then to kind of like recap a bit, we then have the risk of someone using either genuine or deepfake images.
Yeah.
They can present it to a camera in front of it. Yeah. Okay, then it's not a real person, it's an attack artifact, or they can inject it as in the or kind of like after the camera pipeline somehow.
Yeah.
And then I guess we would need, or kind of like our system then focuses then on doing multiple things to prevent this. So I don't know, with regards to, I guess one area would be just detecting the deepfake, right? So could you share a bit about that? How is kind of like the field of deepfake detection evolving?
Yeah, so well, initially deepfake detection was just detecting whether an image is a deepfake or not. We're just passing it into a neural network
Yeah.
trained on lots of data. However, if this is an arms race, it's a cat and mouse chase. You make a better detector, they make a better generator. So we have to keep ahead. We have to keep evolving and countering new threats. So one of the things that is now the effect detection is moving towards is video defect detection. So looking for temporal consistencies, spotting artifacts. Defect models are susceptible to introducing artifacts and glitches in videos when you look at them frame by frame, and that is one way to detect them. And then of course behavioral signals, biological signals that are very difficult to fake, like micro movements, etc. So
Or kind of like prediction of polls,
yeah,
for instance,
yeah,
or
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So and then you were saying, so kind of like the initial deepfake detection focus typically on one single image, and then you see kind of like the attacker getting better and better, and then you get video attacks, and then we need to keep up basically.
Yeah, and there's this another new threat as well of adversarial attacks, where the attacker will not necessarily make a deepfake, but make a manipulated image or a video that is actually poisonous to the detector. It fools the detector. It makes the detector do unexpected things. So that is one thing that we have to counter or protect against, or make safeguards against. That is not only just you detect a deepfake, you also have to be adversarially robust.
Yeah. And an example of that is, for instance, let's say you have a surveillance system and I don't want to be surveilled,
Yeah.
then it might be able to have some kind of markers on me to
Yes.
fool the face detector that is basically looking for faces. And
Yeah.
then I do some measures to say, okay, I'm not my face is not a face because I have these kind of markers on, for instance.
Yes,
And then-
exactly.
Yeah, and then you say you do the same with kind of like attack instruments, and you try to fool the
Yeah, so you can add some kind of noise into the image. That's the most basic way to do adversarial attack.
Yeah.
And the detector will be completely confused. So one example is detectors trained on ImageNet, which is a very big data set of general images.
Yeah.
And there was a research paper where they added some noise into the images, and they presented it to the classification model. And the model said if it's a cat video, a video of a, or picture of a cat, it would say it's an elephant.
Yeah.
Even though it looks clearly like a cat, a human cannot say that this image was manipulated because the noise is imperceptible.
Yeah, and so the noise is then almost at a pixel level, right? So
Yes.
yeah, so you need to zoom really in.
Yeah.
To
No, not even zooming in, you
Yeah.
wouldn't see it.
No.
Yeah, it's pixel level actually. It's in the numbers. It's
Yeah.
a very slight variation, but for the detector, it makes a world of a difference.
Yeah, and then I get the cat to be the elephant.
Yeah.
So then one, and I guess you have. So we talked about earlier, right? You have deep fakes in different areas. You have one, let's say on X or Twitter. You have in an identity verification scenario, or in a face authentication to a biometric system. Are they kind of like the same? Is it kind of like what's easiest and hardest to detect? How is kind of like the arms race in, if you kind of like are a bit more context specific? Is there any difference there, or?
Well, if it's on social media, then you can't really make a deep fake which has no sound.
Yeah.
So you need to have audio, and mostly in social media, the goal is to misinform, spread disinformation, and the goal is basically propaganda and getting some kind of information out there.
Yeah.
However, for KYC, ML, or onboarding purposes, the goal is to bypass the KYC, bypass the onboarding, get a fake identity enrolled, for example, and somehow get some money out of the whole ordeal, right? Get some ROI.
Yeah.
So it is a bit different. So for that, you don't need sound unless your detection system requires the sound. Yeah, it is different. Yes.
Yeah, and I guess as being the protection layer, also you can put in more constraint as well, right?
Yeah.
So you can it may in the world of detecting every deep fakes on X, that is a broader problem than
Yes.
ensuring that's an integrity and identity verification process.
Yeah, actually, the in the onboarding process, the best thing you can do is device attestation, like making sure that the image or the video is coming from a real camera, from the phone. And then you can also make sure the device or make sure about device integrity, where the device is not rooted, not jailbroken, it's not an emulator or a virtual camera. And if it is, then you just reject it. And finally, of course, you can ensure that the capture pipeline is secure. So you have to basically flip the model of detect the deepfake to ensure authenticity. So the user has to prove they are authentic. We don't have to detect the deepfake. That's like the reactive model of finding deepfakes, right? You have to do a more what do you say?
Prevention.
Yeah, more prevention. Like the user has the burden of proof is on the user to prove that the data biometric sample that I'm submitting is authentic.
Yeah. And I guess that leaves you. So you Tawsin, you're working on a lot on inject attack detection, and then we're kind of like leaving that realm of just detecting the deepfakes to ensuring the authenticity and integrity of the pipeline. And I know there's been a lot of the development in recent standards as well. So could you tell me a bit about kind of like the work regarding kind of like how do we test this type of technology? How do we kind of like ensure that yes, this inject attack detection actually works to ensure that it's a genuine camera really?
Actually, in the last few years, if you see the standard, it's ISO standard 30107.
Yeah.
It only discussed about this type 1 attack prevention, which is basically the presentation attack prevention. So last few years, standards does not cover this injection attack detection. But recently, a new regulation from HC requirement and also the new standard, which is called the CEN, they basically describe the type 2 attack, which is called the injection attack detection. So in this document, the standard basically specified the different what the injection attack is, the different methods of injection attacks, the different injection attack instruments, and also they outline the defense mechanism and how we can even test our injection attack system. So in that standard, they mention about different level of testing, which is called the basic, substantial, and the high level of testing. And the good part is that recent EU requirements, which is called the HC, they are referring all the biometric system, all the remote identity proofing system should follow this CEN standard. So we can say injection attack detection is not optional anymore for us. So it's become mandatory for us to adopt injection attack detection system in our remote identity proofing pipeline.
Yeah, and for users of it, it basically must ensure that that the underlying technology actually adhere to this, right?
Yeah.
And in that standard, I think both it's a requirement on having both dedicated deepfake detection alone, but also the inject attack detection, including kind of like external testing from independent parties. I think this is a really fast-moving field. Lots of things happening. What do you have any kind of like reflections looking ahead? What do you see? Is there anything you see? Okay, these are very good improvements on these standards and these testing. We need more labs is one reflection for me that actually do testing of these kind of things, but because it's actually very few labs in the world that do inject attack detection. Do you guys have any kind of like other more kind of like future origin thinking? Okay, this is where the world is going, or this is important areas.
Yeah, so well, we clearly are seeing regulation, like the IDAS, which is also linked with HC, and then of course the new CEN standard that's upcoming. So clearly the regulators are moving towards this in this direction, that inject attacks detection and securing the data pipeline is important. And then we also have we see that Google and Apple are there is some work going on to introduce secure enclaves on device to do device attestation, that every image or video generated by the devices can be authenticated. Other than that, there are some content authenticity initiatives,
Yeah.
which they are introduced. They want to uh, cryptographically assign a signature to every image or video or any kind of media generated by any device like laptops, phone, tablets, IoT devices, so that every piece of media can be authenticated that this comes from this device, for example. And then it was, of course, makes making authenticating verifying identities much more easier, because then you can just say, if this if data provenance is not included in the media, then we reject it.
Yeah, you don't trust
So
it.
yeah, we don't trust it. So so that's where I think the world is moving towards.
Yeah, and then you would have kind of like vendors and identity verification, a biometrics provider would be kind of like build verification technology that leverage all these kind of levers that where it will be more kind of like in the future. And then we still need to kind of like work on these various types of just ensuring the pipeline and doing kind of like deepfake detection standalone. Yeah. Really good. I'm thinking that's what we are able to do today. Unless you have some things that we should have talked about this. Is there anything that is top of mind? Or are we
Yeah.
wrapping? Yeah.
One thing I saw right now, we is as a remote identity proofing service provider, is not enough for us to check the compliance, because technology is moving so fast. Attackers just not wait for the compliance itself, so they go for even more sophisticated attacks. So as a service provider, we have to keep track what's the recent threats and what innovations attackers are doing on this injection error detection. So we have to do something beyond the compliance and be ahead in injection error detection.
Because it's basically moving faster than the regulation and the
And
standards.
regulations
Yeah.
That's true.
And I think that's a really, really good point.
Yeah.
Yes. Good. Then thanks for listening. I think this is a really interesting topic. It's one of the areas that we are working the most on, actually, to ensure that we have a genuine, real person in front of a camera. And that's the core of ensuring any biometric system.
Tune in now to Face Matters, feel the spree.